Hello, my name is David Penner, and this is my Module 5 assignment for AEP 858. It's called Continuous Improvement, My Story, and it's over my district of Rose Hill High School, which is USD 394. A little bit about who we are. We are a small rural community that's just southeast of Wichita, Kansas, located in Butler County. Our district has about 1,600 kids in it, while our high school itself has just roughly 540 students in the high school building. Our demographics are somewhat comparable to the state. However, we have a higher population of whites or white students in our high school. The African American population is roughly 2%. Hispanics are our biggest minority group of just over 6% there. And we have 3% that have registered as being other. If you look at our 5-year trend for the high school, it has roughly stayed the same with some of our populations like African Americans that are going up within our district. If we look at the males versus females in our district, you can see the 5-year trend here where our male population has trended downward since 2015, while it's the exact opposite for our females that have trended upward since the same time, with last year being the first year in which we now have more females in our building than males. If we look at the economic disadvantaged percent of our students, specifically in the high school, we have roughly 25%, 24% that are economically disadvantaged. However, it's much higher in our lower level schools. If you look at the state, we are below the state. The state has roughly twice as much students that are labeled as economically disadvantaged. While our 24% may not be as much as the state, it still represents a big portion of our students and is a big group that needs to be taken into account, especially when looking at plans for improvement within the district itself. Where are we now? If you look at our performance levels, both math and science, I put up there for you. Over the last 2 years, we've inputted our data into the state, and we compare very similarly to the state and its averages. Our math levels were usually a little bit lower with our Tier 1 students than the state levels, and our Tier 4 students or Level 4 students are going to be slightly lower than the state averages as well. However, with science, it's the opposite. I found that to be interesting because I teach science. In regards to our higher level learners or Level 4 learners, we're above or at the state average for those levels. For our graduation rate, we look at the numbers compared to the state. We've been around 90% these last 2 years, with 90% being our 5-year average. And so we're roughly 2 to 3% above the state average in that area as well. As far as ACT scores, we're right at the state level or higher than the state level, as you can see with our trend with 2015, 2016 being above the state average for our district. And then finally, our success rate. You can see, once again, 5-year plan right there where our graduation rate is roughly 90%. However, our 5-year success average is about 62%, and our effective average is going to be about 56%. So if you look at that, our effective average is going to be below the range in which Kansas believes the effective rate needs to be, which is 70 to 75%. Why do we exist? I looked up our school mission statement to see if that's going to provide the answer for this one. It says Rose Hill is committed to providing educational opportunities in a safe environment, empowering all students to become productive, responsible citizens and lifelong learners. I underlined empower all students, and specifically all of them, not just the majority that we have here in Rose Hill. And trust those students with the ability to, or to teach those students that they have the ability to make decisions on their own. And then for them to be productive and responsible, that's key as well. And then being lifelong learners. It's never it's a never-ending job to be a learner. So where do we want to be as a district and as a high school, and what gaps do we have? We've talked for a while now about enrollment. Our enrollment numbers at the high school level have gone down. We're about roughly 100 and I think it's 80 kids down from where we were back in 2011. So we need to raise our current enrollment numbers. That's just at the high school. And then our graduation rate, we need to continue to be above the state average, but also be able to compete with the other local 4A schools. There's some of our neighboring schools that are in our same AVCTL Division 4 that have higher graduation rates than we do. State testing, we want to be able to be competitive in that area as well. And so raising our math, science, and reading scores would be a high priority. And then our post-secondary success, we want to provide opportunities for our students, and then also encourage them to take those opportunities that are provided to them by our district. How can we get where we want to be? Enrollment-wise, we can advertise the great opportunities that we have for our students here at Rose Hill High School. We are an open district, and so students from neighboring towns and communities can travel into Rose Hill. It's about 7 miles in any direction. You'll hit another town, so it's not too far of a drive. We need to make more headway in letting our community know and our county know how great of a school district we actually have. We can do that by using media sources such as television, commercials, or radio in order to reach those community members. For our graduation rate, we need to do a better job of monitoring students' grades throughout the school year and keeping track of those in order to make sure that students are on pace to graduate, and it's not going to be a surprise at the end of their senior year when they're behind. This will help us encourage those students to take measures early on, so they're not waiting until the end in order to cram jam classes in order to graduate. State testing scores, we need to encourage student success within the classroom, provide opportunities for positive reinforcement, especially with the state testing scores, and celebrate our successes in those areas. As far as post-secondary success, we need to continue to provide opportunities for students to explore those post-secondary careers. We have a wing in our high school that is dedicated to Butler County Community College and their academies that they offer, which are excellent for high school students. They provide certificates for those students so they can graduate from high school with a certificate in hand from Butler. And then we also need to build our career shadowing program through our CTE coordinator, who's responsible for that. So how will we implement this plan? Once again, enrollment, advertise through our district media sources that we have, whether that's the news, commercials on television, or the radio itself. Use those revenues in order to reach other students that might be interested in Rose Hill. Graduation rate, I suggest that we implement a daily ACE period. Right now we have nothing of that sort throughout our week, and so our students really don't have a time to get help for their classwork unless it's before or after school. This will also allow for teachers to help monitor the grades of the students that are in their team time or their ACE period. And then if we change the eligibility of our high school students from every 9 weeks to being every 2 weeks, that will help hold those students accountable to using that time period and making it a success. State testing scores, once again, provide positive reinforcement for the state testings in our successes in those areas, such as an ice cream day or a half off day where the students get half a day off. We need to celebrate their successes, and I don't think we do enough of that, especially at our high school. And then post-secondary success, once again, continue our partnership with Butler County Community College in order to provide our students with awesome opportunities. And then also establish an internship program with our local businesses so that our students can actually go see the career fields that they have interest in, and use that time and use that program in order to discover whether or not they love what they're signing up to do when they go to college. So how will we evaluate our efforts? I think it's important. Evaluation is key in order to measure what you're doing well and what can be improved. So in order to do that, we can continue using the data that the state provides and use that as a measuring stick. Graduation rate, compare it to other schools in our county, and then also other schools of our similar size. Post-secondary success rates, we can do the same with that as well, see if that increases or whether or not any of our efforts with Butler County or our internship program can increase that number. I think we can also keep better track of the number of students that gain certificates through programs like Butler or the internship program and gain experience in those areas. We also can do a better job of listening to local feedback, providing our students and parents and even community members with surveys in order to get a feel for what we are doing well and once again what can be improved for our district, and then see if those efforts that we are taking are making a positive impact for our students.